There's something different about doing things by yourself that doesn't really come close to anything that you can actually feel. There's a lot of people that today, maybe you included, that struggle to be by themselves and think by themselves or work on themselves or do anything on their own. And there's a lot of people that keep talking about different, I guess you could say, types of people that think to themselves it's harder for them to be alone, or it doesn't feel right to be alone, or there's like some people that much would rather prefer that social interaction, that social element to human existence, right? But I think what has helped me, and for context, I've been on a self-improving journey of just doing better and better and better, creating my own business and making my own money for myself and getting better at relationships, getting more confident, becoming more physically attractive, becoming more physically fit, healthy, and all these sorts of things. I've been doing that for the past 4 years, and now with a bit of reflection, I come to the conclusion that being alone and solitude is actually something that can actually help you push past through a lot of different problems. And for me, solitude has basically helped me, I guess you could say, come to the conclusions that have made me the man I am today. Because I learn a lot of things from a lot of different people, right? I take a lot of action every single day. But the point being, what matters the most is what you do when nobody's watching. What you do when nobody is there to tell you what to do, to be behind you and just like look at what you're doing and check if everything's all right. Nobody's going to do that. In that case, you need to be the only person that can do that for yourself. I made a video on this topic quite a little while back, talking about the most important relationship in the world, in the entire universe, that you can have is the one with yourself. Because if you don't love yourself, if you don't respect yourself, if you don't have a high enough self-esteem, if you don't care about yourself, then in that case, you'll always do and walk towards self-destruction. And I don't think that's where everybody wants to go. Like, there are some people out there, I don't really understand how you get there mentally, but they say things like, I think all humans should die. I think we're the worst species on the planet, and we're actually just destroying the planet and killing everybody else. And I'm like, how the fuck do you get to that point? Because if you're saying that, you basically, like, you have zero self-esteem. You actually have negative self-esteem, negative respect for yourself, negative everything about you, about the other people around you. You feel like humans should not exist. What the fuck is wrong with you? You do know you're a human, right? So if you don't want humans to exist, why the fuck are you even here in the first place? Like, what is the point? That's what I ask all of these people every single time. Every single time I come across somebody that is very negative or very nihilistic or very pessimistic, I always tell them, like, your idea is fucking stupid. Because in that case, if you really think humans shouldn't exist and your life is so miserable, then just fucking get on with it. Done. Finished. Like, go ahead. Make my fucking day. Jump out the fucking window. of the 20th fucking floor. And I don't encourage this. Like, this is like extreme examples of like, are you sure you want to do that? Because if you do, I suggest you seek help. You talk to people about it. Because it's not normal. The only people to who that happens are the people that have so much self-loathing and so much self-hatred and hatred towards other people because they've lived such a very hard, difficult, and victim life that they have to blame the entire world and they have to blame themselves at the same time. They blame everybody. And so it's quite sad what happens to these individuals, but that's not what I wanted to talk about today. What I wanted to talk about today, for the most part, is focusing on the power that you can pull from out of solitude and being by yourself. I spend a lot of time by myself. And I think to myself, like sometimes I take the time to think, I go for a walk outside for an hour, come back, and then contemplate during the walk. What could I do? Am I doing the right thing? Am I doing what's most efficient? Am I on the right path? Am I pushing forward? Am I making progress? And I ask these questions, and then I let my brain digest the questions, and I figure out a way to do better. It's also a good time when you're by yourself when you're a little bit isolated, to really think through things and pause for a second and let your mind stop consuming all the content and all the conversations and all the entertainment and all the distractions. And just instead of consuming, just let your brain just breathe and just do nothing. Just let your brain be okay to sit in the silence and understand that you need to process things as well. Your mind is a supercomputer. So if you don't process things, the supercomputer is going to overheat and is not going to work properly. So if you if you shut off the computer, this is why you go to sleep, by the way. You go to sleep to allow your brain to shut off and to recover the energy. It's kind of like when you have a computer and you turn it on to work on it, or to play on it, or to do whatever the fuck you want on it throughout the entire day, and then at the end of the day you turn it off. You don't let the computer on throughout the night unless there's something important for you to do with said computer. This is what I do. Turn on the computer in the morning, and then as soon as I need to go take a walk outside, or as soon as I need to go do something else, or as soon as I'm going somewhere else, or moving, or changing tasks, then I'll shut off the computer. I don't let it in sleep mode. I don't leave it in sleep mode. I just turn it off. And this is what you need to do with your mind from time to time. Take a walk. Go outside. If your environment doesn't allow you to be in a solitude kind of state in all by yourself, then I recommend finding a place where you can do that. May it be a walk on the beach, may it be going to a very private place in the forest. If you have nature around your house, I heavily recommend it. It's really appeasing and peaceful to do that. And or if not, find a place. If it's your bedroom, if it's your house, whatever it may be, library, don't really know. There could be a lot of different options, right? The point of why I'm talking to you about this is that solitude is actually a critical part of understanding who you truly are. For myself, I actually there was a lot of times where I just sat there and really thought about everything that I'm doing and figured out some really eye-opening things in that time. And if I'd never actually taken the time, and if I'd kept like watching YouTube videos or playing games or distracting myself with X, Y, and Z, then in that case, I would have never figured that out in the first place. Another thing I like to do in solitude is take a notebook and start writing things down on it. A habit I developed that I don't really do anymore because I've outgrown it is I used to journal every single day at the end of the day for 10-15 minutes, and I would write down everything that I had done throughout the day and make kind of like a summary of the tasks that I had done and the lessons, the most important lessons that I had learned, so that way I could categorize them and I could chuck them into a written physical form that I could then review later. And so I did that, and I must have done that for like 4 years straight, pretty much. So I must have like one notebook for 6 months. So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 notebooks. 7 or 8 notebooks, roughly. And so if I take a look at it, and I take a look at day one, when I started doing this, you can see how my mind operated differently in there. It's very interesting. And by repeating over and over and over this habit, my mind has developed quite substantially. I find a lot of ideas come to me when I'm writing things down, when I find clarity. This is why I have a whiteboard at home. Maybe you've seen a couple of the other videos I've made with a whiteboard. That's why I use it. Like for me, seeing things, I have a very visual mind, so I need to see things in order for it to make more sense. So whenever I sit down and I write things down, or I make an illustration or a diagram or whatever, that helps me identify and visualize things and come up with different ideas. So if you're in the stage of your life right now where you feel kind of stuck, where you don't really know what you're doing and you don't really know if you're progressing, then in that case I urge you to take some time alone to cut out the distractions, to cut out the people, the entertainment, the videos, the consuming, the stuff, and just take some time for yourself and just really try and figure out what you actually want to do. Not what other people told you to do, what you want to do. What you find nice, what you find cool, what you find like, this is interesting, I want to do that. And then just go ahead and take more action, test more things. And that's basically what I've done for the past 6-7 years. 6 or 7 years, yeah, pretty much. Like when I finished and I graduated my exams, or whatever you could say, at 18, I figured out a lot of things. So I would just test things one at a time. Okay, I'm gonna do this. Okay, it didn't really work. I'm gonna do this. Didn't really work. I'm gonna do that. I want to start my own business. Okay, this is interesting. And then, boom, boom, boom. Here we are today. So the biggest revelations that came to me in terms of what I needed to do, what I needed to find my purpose, my meaning, and all of these things, didn't come from other people telling me what to do, but it came from absorbing some information, then going out there by myself somewhere, summarizing everything, figuring out what I think about it, and then coming to a conclusion of what I want to do with that information. It didn't come from forcing me to do, hey, you need to do 400 cold calls. And I'm like, no, I can do that, but I'm not gonna do that. Instead, I'm gonna do something else because I want to test things and I want to see for myself if it actually works or not. I want to see for myself what works best for me. Where am I actually more efficient? Where am I actually making big mistakes? Where can I improve? Where can I do better? And then push forward and make progress on that front. That's basically what I've repeated. It's kind of like a loop that I've just repeated over and over again over the past 4 years. And if you kind of know what you want and you're not so lost as I mentioned before, then in that case, what I recommend is for you to take some time to really think about what you're doing right now and how could you be doing that more efficiently, better, faster, differently. Come up with a new, completely different creative idea, a different invention, a creation, build something, produce a different outcome, produce a better outcome. All of these things only happen when you start thinking about it. Now you can think about it with other people, but if you can't think about it for yourself, then in that case, you aren't being the best version of yourself. If you can't come up with good, creative, strategic ideas on your own, then that means you have work to do. You have skills to develop in that front. And that's something that I'd noticed as well. The more life experience you go through, the more you can actually pay attention to the details and see things for what they truly are. A good example would be somebody that has 10 years of experience in a certain industry, let's just say banking. And somebody comes into the industry, is his first year of banking. He goes to see the guy who has 10 years of experience and he says, what should I do? What do you recommend I do based on the knowledge that you've gathered over the past 10 years? And he said, oh, well, first I recommend you look into this, this, and this. All right, cool. Looked into it, thought about it by myself. Or in this case, the guy in the example, thinks about it by himself and then comes to the conclusion that what he just said was, there was something missing. So he goes back to the other guy and he says, hey, I thought about it, what you said, and what do you think about this small piece over here? And the other guy goes, good thing that you thought about it. Because if you didn't think about it, I would have just told you, fuck off. Just go do the ropes. Figure it out yourself. But since you actually shown that you can actually think about it for yourself and you can actually use your critical thinking skills and your strategic thinking skills, then in that case, I am going to put more help towards you and I'm going to help you out more and I'm going to help you progress forward and do better. And then boom. People don't like people who aren't capable of doing things on their own. And this is the same thing everywhere. May it be in the workplace, in the dating market, anywhere. If a woman goes out with a man and the man doesn't know how to do something, if he doesn't try and figure it out, or if he isn't resourceful, or if he isn't persevering and trying to figure it out, she will lose respect and attractiveness for him. She will think about him as, oh, he's just a lesser man than other people. What matters most is the character that you develop. And that character is developed not just in social interactions with other people, but also in the moments where nobody's watching, where you're all by yourself and you're with your own thoughts and you choose what to do right now. And with that said, thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate all the support I'm getting on these videos. As per usual, the channel keeps growing. I post one video every single day. the full topic of these videos is basically just become a man that is respected by others and that does better. So if that's something you're interested in, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and stick around for the next videos, or go check out the other videos on the channel. And with that said, I will see you tomorrow, because it's a beautiful day. It's time to get back to work, and I will see you in the next one. See ya.